Now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akugha as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akugha. On today's edition of the program, we will kickstart with politics in Akwa Ibom State, where the forthcoming governorship elections appear to be a straight contest between the governing People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the opposition All Progressives Congress, APC. Recently, Mr. Nsima Ekere, the governorship candidate of the APC in Akwa Ibom State, got a major breakthrough in his ambition to become the next #1 citizen of the state, with a surprise package from Senator Sen.Udoedehe, who also vied for the APC governorship ticket during the APC primaries. The package, of course, was the collapse of Senator Udoedege's political structure into that of Nsima Ekere ahead of what most politicians in the state now refer to as the day of reckoning in the land of promise. Away from politics, we will in our next issue bring you the people's reaction to the budgetary allocations earmarked for the development of the Niger Delta region in the 2019 Appropriation Bill presented by President Muhammadu Buhari to a joint session of the National Assembly. Up next is a report on the recent meeting of Pastor David Ibiyeomie, the senior pastor of Salvation Ministries, and Ijaw youths recently in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, where he spoke on how to move the Ijaw nation forward. And finally on the program, we will showcase the giant strides of Port Harcourt-based Belemaoil Producing Limited, an indigenous exploration and production oil firm that has since surpassed the expectations of its host communities in UML 55 in carrying out its corporate social responsibility, and has decided to offer a helping hand to victims of the ongoing Boko Haram insurgency up north. Details of our package will be brought to you in just a moment. Don't go away.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Welcome back. And if you're just joining us, it's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. Recently, the ambition of governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Akwa Ibom State, Nsima Ekere, received a major boost when one of his rivals during the September 2018 APC governorship primaries, Senator Sen.Udoedehe, collapsed his political structure into the campaign team of the governorship hopeful. Those present at the well-attended ceremony in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State capital, described the event as an indication of what to expect in the February 2019 governorship election. Correspondent Tekena Amiofuri has more.
Supporters of Senator Udoedehe, at the instance of their principal, turned out in their numbers to publicly acknowledge their readiness to work for Mr. Nsima Ekere, the APC governorship candidate in Akwa Ibom State.
Udoedehe is a strong politician. He is one of the very few people that makes things happen. If you are a king, you fight with understanding. And then the bottom line of the fight is to unite your people and make things work for them. And so that's what he's doing. With Nsima Ekere, all of them in the role of fighting back and forth and stuff, is the stability of their people that is paramount.
The essence and the significance of this is just to let people know that the APC is strong, and Sen.Udoedehe is strong, and Nsima Ekere is our next governor from 2019.
For them, this event speaks volumes about the unity in the fold of the APC in Akwa Ibom State, contrary to a rumored division in the party.
It is a clear indication today that all is well, that we are one family, that Udoedehe is absolutely working for Nsima Ekere to become the next governor of Akwa Ibom State.
The whole of the state of PDP collapsed from chairman of chapter to works. All the officers collapsed and melted into APC. Then you know that this is a strong statement that is being shown at this level.
Senator Udoedehe, who has over the years built a formidable political structure, is a force to reckon with in the politics of Akwa Ibom State. The former senator representing Akwa Ibom North-East Senatorial District and one-time Minister of State for the Federal Capital Territory, says, as a loyal party man, he decided to support Nsima Ekere, who secured a landslide victory at the party's governorship primaries held in September this year.
If I leave APC, where will I go? I will still go and meet the same people, the same political groups, and nothing different. So why don't you stay, in your party with these people? This is a party that I gave birth to, and they have come to enhance the party. I will not gamble. It will be a political suicidal to do otherwise.
At the moment, the governorship ambition of Nsima Ekere is selling like hotcakes in Akwa Ibom State, as he enjoys the support of the ordinary people and the backing of political gladiators like former Governor Godswill Akpabio.
Udoedehe group, he contested for governorship in 2011 under the then ACN that later merged with the APC. And then, of course, all those who contested against the current governor in 2015, Mano Mana and all are also here. So for them to come in and also join, I mean, there is no one left. And I've been able to pull more than 2/3 of the PDP family here. And of course, you won't see me here if we're not going to win.
The clamor for Nsima Ekere to become the next governor of Akwa Ibom State is not without basis. He was an accomplished estate developer with a proven track record in the private sector before delving into politics. Having served as deputy governor of Akwa Ibom State and managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC), his leadership style is very well known to the people. For the NDDC boss, this is the time to reposition Akwa Ibom on the fast lane of development.
We are fully reconciled, we are fully mobilized, ready for the general election. All the interests, all the hitherto warring factions in the party have come together. They've collapsed into one in readiness for the general election. This election has got to be about issues. It's going to be a referendum by the people of Akwa Ibom State on the performance of the incumbent government. What they have done in 3.5 years, how we have fared as a people, whether they've been able to keep the assets of the state that they met in 2015. And I can tell you that virtually everything that used to make Akwa Ibom people proud of this state in the last 3.5 years have been destroyed by this present administration.
With the groundswell of support for Nsima Ekere, the APC is optimistic about a landslide victory in a freely and fairly conducted elections come 2019.
Who's the next governor? Say it loud. Say it louder. Say it again. O-N-E is the man who's going to be one man. That makes everything one. Unification of the people. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I mean everything I'm saying, and I want you to be honest too. Unite we stand to make Nsima a governor. How you feeling? Rise to the top. From 60s to the present. Rise to the top. Rise up, rise up. Rise to the top. APC in Akwa Ibom. Rise to the top. APC in Nigeria. Rise to the top. Rise up, rise up. Rise to the top. Muhammad Buhari. Rise to the top. Muhammadu Buhari. Rise to the top. Nsima Ekere. Rise to the top. You're rising, we're rising. Rise to the top. Let's get Akwa Ibom working again, you know what I'm saying?
Inside the Niger Delta.
President Muhammadu Buhari recently presented the 2019 Appropriation Bill to a joint session of the National Assembly. What's in for the Niger Delta, the region that bakes the national cake of crude oil? That is the focus of this report.
President Buhari, while presenting the 2019 budget proposal to a joint session of the National Assembly, had observed that it was intended to place the economy on the path of inclusive, diversified and sustainable growth. The 8.8 trillion naira budget proposal is hinged on an oil price benchmark of $60 per barrel at an estimated daily production capacity of 2.3 million barrels. In the proposal, The federal government has an estimate of 2.28 trillion naira for capital spending, inclusive of capital in transfers. Such transfers include 65 billion naira for the Presidential Amnesty Program in the Niger Delta, 45 billion naira for the Northeast Intervention Fund, and additional 10 billion naira as takeoff grants for the Northeast Development Commission.
If you look at the new commission in Northeast that they just established, over how many billion? I think it's about 45 billion that is allocated to that. And then you're giving the initial, take-off grant of 10 billion, to that commission. What is coming out from there that you're using oil money to give that kind of amount of money to, the Northeast, whatever commission you're calling it? Trying to set up some other commissions as it relates to some other geopolitical zones. It means that you're trying to create, more and more of these commissions, and then watering down what should go to, the Niger Delta, area. And every other geopolitical zone will start acting. NDDC was actually established, as a core and micro group that will look at, the problems of the Niger Delta and attack it in order to, bring the people out of the suffering of, what oil exploitation and exploration are causing in the Niger Delta area.
Professionals and business leaders in the Niger Delta want the federal government to review allocations made in the 2019 budget proposal with regard to the funding of its interventionist agencies and key projects in the region.
Considering the dilapidated nature of the East-West Road, which is not completed or has been left the way the previous administration left it since 2015, we expect that the government would have taken these areas into key into considerations. The East-West Road is significant to this region. It connects the three major oil-producing states of this country: Delta, Bayelsa, Rivers, and including Akwa Ibom State, up to Cross River and Edo State. So it's significant if government wants to ensure that there's continual maximum production output of crude oil in this country to sustain the budget as it were, as it has projected. Then government need to look inwardly, review his budget, and ensure that the Niger Delta is not treated with levity.
In his presentation of the 2019 budget proposal, President Buhari, however, noted that the transfer to the NDDC, which is a function of the quantum of oil revenues generated, is projected to be higher.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Internationally acclaimed preacher and senior pastor of Salvation Ministries, one of the fastest growing churches in Africa, Pastor David Ibiyeomie recently met with Ijaw youths in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, where he urged them to shun violence in the agitation for the development of the Niger Delta region. Pastor Ibiyeomie also enjoined Ijaw youths to stop acting as agents of electoral violence, especially as the general elections get underway in February 2019. It was an unprecedented meeting with Pastor David Ibiyeomie, who took time off his busy schedule to engage Ijaw youths at a soul-searching session recently in Yenagoa. Pastor Ibiyeomie's message on the Ijaws and greatness explored the socio-economic circumstances of a people long contending with the social contradictions of poverty, insecurity, and backwardness in the midst of plenty. In their search for greatness and recognition in a highly competitive global community, the clergyman, who's also Ijaw by birth, advises kith and kin to begin to get their values right. This, he said, will add value to their lives and enable them impact more positively on their communities.
We shall take our key text from John chapter 1 verse 46. And Nathanael said unto him, Can there any good thing come out of Nazareth? Philip said to him, Come and see. So I ask, can any good thing come out of Niger Delta? Tell someone around you, come and see. As an Ijaw youth and a member of the Ijaw, know that the world is tired of seeing and looking for popular. They want to see the experience and the spectacular. B, great regions don't make great people. It is great people that make great regions. If great regions make great people, then all people in great regions would have been great. That a stick fell into water does not make it to become a fish. That you find yourself in the garage does not mean you are now a car. See, every desire for good and greatness will only end up in daydream and a nightmare when devotion, decision, and action is not taken in the right direction. Your approach to life and your participation determines your greatness. Every greatness that is devoid of God will soon become past tense.
The Ijaw youths were enjoined to discard prodigal lifestyles and look inwards for real solutions to their collective plight. On how to engage the federal government and multinational oil companies operating in their land, the outspoken preacher admonished Ijaw youths to change their strategy of employing violence as a means of seeking redress from perceived economic marginalization.
Think of better and legitimate ways of making money. Avoid criminal activities like kidnapping, assassination, armed robbery, cultism, and the likes. No development can be achieved and no system can strive in the face of insecurity and youth restiveness. All persons within the region must accept full responsibilities for their activities and actions. Once you blow up pipelines, you destroy your aquatic lives. Who suffers? Your aquatic life suffers, so is stupidity. Because the oil pipeline you're blowing is in your backyard. All Ijaw youths and people must believe in capacity building. Get adequately trained in the act of drilling and the manufacturing of international accepted drilling apparatus and equipment. Go for technical advancement in Europe and other parts of the world. Then the oil industry will be beneficial to you. It's not agitative allocation. It's being relevant to what is available.
Over the years, the ever-growing army of jobless youths in Ijaw land has always been employed as an instrument of violence during elections. Pastor David Ibiyeomie, however, urged them to shun desperate politicians who do not mean well for the Niger Delta region.
As a youth, politician, power broker, stakeholder in Ijaw land, if you refuse to pay attention to the tears of the people, they will soon tear you down. If you refuse to pay attention to the plight of the people, they will soon fight you. It is impossible to give meaning to living without a value-based lifestyle. Any youth, stakeholder, and politician at all levels should have a change of heart. Never play politics with people's lives.
The meeting with Pastor David Ibiyeomie was facilitated by the President of the Ijaw Youth Council, Roland Owelami, who observed that the IYC, under his watch, has embarked on a paradigm shift in the struggle for an existence in the Niger Delta.
The IYC we lead today is different from the IYC we had yesterday. This is a IYC of prospects. This is a IYC of good things. Gone are the days where you mention IYC, the first thing that will come to people's mind is that, do they want to block road again? This is not the IYC to block road again. This is the IYC to open road for people to benefit. We have moved away from the old days. This is a new song that we are singing. Our oil that people are siphoning, people are transporting to other places in the world without the Ijaw people benefiting. After our prayers, after our daddy praying for all of us, for Ijaw nation, the Ijaw nation will begin to make progress in all our endeavors.
The IYC commemorated the 20th anniversary of its Kayama Declaration of 1998 recently in Port Harcourt, where it observed that most of the key demands advanced on the eve of Nigeria's transition to a democratic regime were yet to be met by the federal government. The Ijaw youths, however, look forward to light at the end of the tunnel with the divine direction of Pastor David Ibiyeomie at the just concluded meeting in Yanagoa.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Indigenous oil giant and Port Harcourt-based Belemaoil Producing Limited has scored another milestone as a responsible corporate citizen with the donation of relief materials to internally displaced persons in Yola, the Adamawa state capital. The assistance to victims of the Boko Haram insurgency currently rocking Nigeria's northeast, as Belemaoil explained, is an attempt to extend its philanthropic activities beyond the shores of the Niger Delta.
Since the Boko Haram insurgency erupted in 2009, tens of thousands of lives have been lost, while millions have been displaced. The crisis occasioned by the Boko Haram onslaught, as Rep member Sani Zoro recently pointed out, has since assumed a humanitarian dimension in Nigeria's northeast.
The northern part of the country is failing. Actually, it has failed in so much part of it. And my fear is that this grave situation will have a contagion effect on other parts of the country. There is no doubt about this.
Rising to the occasion, the management of Belemaoil recently visited Adamawa State to commiserate with its government and people over the untold loss of lives and property attendant on the Boko Haram insurgency. During the recent visit to 4 internally displaced persons camps in the state, the indigenous oil giant had donated relief materials consisting of food items, drug and household items to victims of the Boko Haram insurgency.
The NNPC Belemaoil joint venture has a program for the Northeast. That program is to be carried out in 3 phases. It's an intervention program that is supposed to provide support to the Northeast states of Adamawa, Yola, and Borno. We know what has befallen these states in our recent history. And so part of our efforts in supporting the federal government and the governments of these states in curtailing, in ameliorating, and in providing alternative support to the victims of the insurgency in the Northeast is why we are here today.
Adamawa State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Ahmad Sajo, describes as most welcome Belemaoil's response to the plight of the victims of the Boko Haram insurgency.
We are very, very grateful for that. But the interventions you have outlined for medium term and long term are the things we are looking forward to. But we need to collaborate so that we tell you exactly where you can have the greatest impact.
Belemaoil Producing Limited is the licensed operator of OML 55, where it has transformed many lives with the provision of critical infrastructure as well as human capital development initiatives. In extending its outreach program to the northern part of the country, Belemaoil has executed some life-transforming projects in Katsina, Sokoto, and its neighboring states. As the company's manager of external affairs, Abel Jumbo, explains, Belemaoil has decided to extend its interventionist programs beyond the Niger Delta in the spirit of common humanity, which Nigerians need to embrace to foster peaceful coexistence, national unity, and development.
It won't just only be felt in those states, it's going to be felt in other states of the Federation. It's going to be felt in the West, it's going to be felt in the East, it's going to be felt in the Middle Belt, because we believe that the opportunity God has given to us is not just for ourselves alone, but for every humanity, the other part of Nigerians, everybody, we are all one. And that's why we are doing what we're doing. We are taking particular knowledge of our host communities. We are making sure that our host communities are properly taken care of. We are providing these amenities for them. We're only extending a hand of fellowship to our brothers in other areas.
What you are doing here today is telling us that if some people who call themselves Boko Haram can be very satanic as to send our people away from their homes, we also have very angelic kind of people like you who have the milk of humanity to come here and say, look, hey, no, it's not all Nigerians that are bad, it's not all human beings that are bad, but we have good human beings that believe in humanity who can come and assist.
Over 5,000 internally displaced persons recently benefited from the first phase of the NNPC Belemaoil joint venture IDP support project in Adamawa State. inside the Niger Delta.
Well, we must say kudos to Belemaoil for reinventing the concept of corporate social responsibility since it took delivery of OML 55 in the heart of the Niger Delta less than 3 years ago. Well, that's the size of our package today. Inside the Niger Delta. We'll be back next week, same time, same station. Many thanks for staying with us. I am yours sincerely, Mamode Akugha, wishing you a fun-filled Yuletide season. Bye for now.